Hey guys, and welcome to the Women Entrepreneur Success Show. Today we are talking about sex and content and funnels and the daily grind and automated stuff and the stuff that comes up, every day. And so I am super excited to be here with you guys talking about exactly this. And I just want to let you know, I guess this is brought to you by Women Who Wow, the premier mentoring and coaching platform for the seriously driven woman entrepreneurs. So I am super excited to talk with you guys about this. And I prepared a lot of notes because this training, I guess, public training, is in answer to the questions that I get all the freaking time, right? And sometimes I get these questions in terms of a little bit of a smack my hand. I've talked about something I shouldn't talk about or whatever. Most of the time, sorry, I have to get comfortable. Most of the time I get these questions out of absolute curiosity. And sometimes I'm getting them out of just frustration, right? Because people who have been watching me for a while, they feel like they're doing the same things that I'm doing, and they're not getting the results that they wanted to get. And so this training is really for all of that. So today we're definitely going to be talking about why I talk about so much other than business, right? Like why my Facebook feed and my Instagram feed and anywhere else you might find me, why it's not all about like the how-tos of business and a step 1 and a step 2 and make sure your headlines have this and the magical words and all of that. So why, all of my content isn't about that. And the first reason is like I write content that I really love and that I can't not write, that it just kind of has to come out. But the other reason is that I make more money doing it this way. And so just to be frank and honest, right? And there is a mixture of what people need in terms of the how-to, right? And then the permission and or like freedom to kind of do it their own way. And so I am actually going to be talking on this training about why I'm resending out my welcome funnel sequence. If you are already on my email list, one reason I'm sending it out to everyone is so you do not rejoin. Gonna mess up my numbers and my list. But also I'm going to talk about my own how-to tour, and that I'm going across the country actually. I've got 4 or 5 dates on the calendar, and I've got some additional locations and dates coming up. So why I'm doing a how-to tour when that's not exactly how I'm doing my content business, I'm going to answer that. I'm going to talk about a critical change that is brand new, and it's not, to my knowledge, it's not being taught anywhere about funnels. And some people are saying, you know what? I don't even know what a sales funnel is. Other people are saying like, I followed this formula sales funnel, or I followed this and it's just not working. And the reason is that most funnel trainings and gurus that were made gurus because of their funnels, it's been like 10 years, right? And how we interact with each other and how we interact online and what we expect from online brands and the amount of information out there, it's all been it's just changed a lot in a decade, right? And so the way that I now do my funnel, which everyone on my list will get, and if you are a member of Women Who Wow, you're already on my list. If you've gone to my website and you've gotten anything from me, you're on my list. You do not need to rejoin. You will get the same sequence that I'm going to be talking about. But it's critical to change the way you're looking at your automated kind of evergreen funnels in 2019 going into 2020. And I want to share a hack that I've kind of stumbled on, I guess. No one's really teaching it to my knowledge, but I did stumble on it, and it's been one of the most effective things that I've done in my business. And I also want to answer questions about the intersection, I guess, of funnels and automation and daily messaging and where all of that stuff combines. If you watch me closely, you'll see some things that I've been doing differently, but a lot of it has been, I guess, under the hood or not quite seen to people who are already familiar to me, right? It's like things that I'm doing that are drawing more people in. So that's what we're going to be covering today. If you have any questions about any of that, definitely let me know. I do want to give you a heads up that I am going to be talking a little bit about my how-to tour, right? I feel like sometimes My business was built on the how-to, and yet I don't want to fall into this stepfirpreneur march, and yet there are some real core principles that no one is teaching these days about content marketing, about selling, and all of this different stuff. So I really am excited about my how-to tour. But first I want to talk about why I talk about sex, right? Sometimes I get some slaps on the wrist regarding that. Why I talk about, and sometimes those are for my kids who are listening to me, right? And I just tell them to tune me out. But a lot of times it's from people who don't think I should be talking about that. But sex and marriage and women's empowerment and faith, and I'll talk about weight, and I'll talk about all these different things. And sometimes people are asking me well, why are you doing all of that? Is it off message, right? Is it off brand? And my question or my response is really it's not off brand because I am the brand. And I can tell you, no matter what you sell, even if you sell someone else's products, you're a direct seller or something like that, you are the brand. And if you are not being the brand, you are missing out on piles and piles of cash, right? You've got to be the brand. You are the brand. And so anything that is really passionate to you, anything that's really exciting to you, anything that makes you who you are is on brand and on topic. I'll get to more about this in a little bit, right? But I really want you to grasp that. So one of the reasons that I talk about this stuff, to be totally honest with you, is because I love all of these things, right? They're a part of me, and my mission lived out within the walls of Women Who Wow is to leave a legacy, to create a legacy of women who are not only fully empowered, right? And of course, financial empowerment is huge, right? In order to be fully empowered, you got to know you can support yourself, in my opinion. But also not just fully empowered, but I want to leave a legacy of women who are fully expressed, right? I don't want us to hide different things within us and not share and feel like every different group that we're in front of sees a different mask or a different portion or a different part of us. And so I can't not talk about these things, right? But also I do it because it makes me a lot more money than if I just did the nothing but the facts. Here's how to do it. Step 1, step 2, step 3. It used to be that you would talk about just the facts, right? And this is when information was a lot less prevalent, frankly, right? It was where if you could post a really in-depth how-to article, and those are still being posted, and I still use them, right? I have a pet issue that I went to Dr. Google about this morning, right? And there's some how-to stuff in there, and that's all great information, and it's still relevant, which is why I'm going on a how-to tour. But it's not going to get you, the information is just kind of the cost of showing up, right? It's almost like you go to a concert, you got to pay for a ticket. And so you want to make sure that you are not only educating them, but also endearing them, right? Also allowing them to see you. I'll get to that in a minute, but I want to talk a little bit about my how-to tour. Absolutely relatable. You have to be relatable, and you're not going to be relatable to everyone, right? You're not going to be relatable to everyone, but you've got to be relatable to people that you choose to serve. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my how-to tour because I think that it will share some of the, well, you'll see the principles at work, right? You'll see the principles at work. So my how-to tour kicks off in National Harbor, Maryland. We're going to be talking about how to make money as an expert, teaching coaches and consultants and experts how to create clients and cash. How to create clients and cash, essentially how to sell air. I was actually, did this one time with a TV station, actually taught the salespeople how to sell airtime, right? And it's something that I'm actually quite proud of. I still kind of look at the content I created for that, but how to sell air. Essentially, when you're a coach, a consultant, a client, and you're thinking, I'm selling access to me, I'm selling conversations with me, where does the coach hat come off and the friend hat come on, and all of these different questions, and selling yourself access to you or what's in between your ears, your mental real estate, is different than selling a physical product or even a service-based product. It is different. So in National Harbor, Maryland, we're going to talk about how to sell air, how to package information when information now is just everywhere for very free, for free or very, very, very cheap. So I give you a hint because not everybody is going to be able to make it to the National Harbor, Maryland. And my how-to tour is very intensive. It is intimate, right? So this will sell out, especially at the price that I'm doing them at. But, and you don't have to live near there. You can actually fly in. I'm going to be having soirees the night before these one-day intensives. But, so you don't have to like live there in order to come. You can fly. Everywhere I'm going, they have airports. So here are the 4 things that making money as a coach comes down to, right? The 4 things. This is the how-to part. The first thing you have to have is a platform. It comes down to platform, performance, personality, and protection. So platform, performance, personality, and protection, right? So this is what I'm covering in National Harbor, Maryland in August. The next stop on my how-to tour is Dallas, Texas. And for one day in that one, we're talking about monetizing, how to sell your stuff without selling your soul. We're gonna be talking about the biggest funnel hack, which I'm gonna get to today a little bit in this training. The biggest funnel hack that changed everything for me. We're also talking about selling in 2019 and 2020, how it's changed and how to sell in a way that is dramatically more effective than what you are currently doing. Right? Selling has dramatically changed. I don't know if you guys remember that, you know, actually we have some people from Salt Lake City who are coming to these other events. So Katrina, please come see us in any of our stops. But so selling has changed. I don't know if you guys remember, but I remember when I was first married, so 20 years ago, I went to a chiropractor because they had like an ad in the paper, free x-rays and like spine exam, and I'm all about like the natural health, integrated health thing. So I was like, perfect, you know, we'll go and we'll pay her, I think it was like $20, I don't know. And so I walk in there, I've never been in a car accident, I've never had any of that going on, and I am, you know, I get the x-rays and like I have to pay like $8,000 because like if I don't, my spine is going to deteriorate before I, you know, hit the seat to drive home, right? It was like one of those like high pressure sales tactics. The truth is, I learned a little bit about that, and I learned from the guy who created that whole system, and that worked for a long time, and other things worked for a while, right? The funnels where you kind of nurtured people, that worked for a long time. Frankly, if you are a wizard at writing sales copy, which I am, it still works to a degree. But when I made the changes that I'm gonna be talking about in Dallas, it worked to the nth degree, right? So we're gonna be talking about how the selling has changed, right? It's not that you don't have to do it, it's how you do it. So funnels, conversations, the how-to of presenting price, and also the mix of the automated funnel and the daily grind. All of that is going to be in Dallas. So not only the how-to, the where-to, and the when-to of selling your stuff without selling your soul. All right, so then I'm going to move on to the how-to tour stop in Yorktown, Virginia. I'm talking about the how-to of content marketing. A lot of people are going to want to get to this one. We're going to talk about the whole of content marketing, how to put your personality in your copy, the daily messaging bit, the new and incredibly most effective way to repurpose all of your content, like for 10 times impact. I am not even kidding you. This is something that I don't actually advertise. I literally rely on search engines to bring me clients, and this little hack has been amazing. I don't have to do anything extra. I don't have to write anything extra, but I take my daily messaging and I repurpose it in this one specific way, and that gives me at least 10 times the impact, at least. We're talking about creating, leveraging, repurposing, and selling through stories and daily content. We're talking about calendars a little bit, although I don't really use a calendar, but this content marketing, the how-to of content marketing, is content to cash, not just content for content's sake. And I have found a lot of the trainings out there are content for content's sake. But back to our show. Why I talk about sex and all the other stuff is, besides the fact that I can't not and I'm interested in it, is because it makes more money. Information is just the price of like playing business online, right? Like you cannot be in business. Frankly, like pest control companies, carpet cleaners, furniture makers, shed builders, like these people are writing books for a local little brick and mortar business. They're writing books because they know that information is the key to playing the game in business, right? But information is everywhere. So I talk about sex and marriage and kids and weight and female empowerment and all of that. I talk about all of that because you must also entertain, engage, and endear your market with your content. It is not enough to just have the how-to content. It's not enough, right? You're gonna fall into the trap of being like everybody else. And when your content is doing the how-to step by step by step by step, you're never going to have a relationship with your people. You're never going to have people who are like that that one book forever ago. I don't know if it was a book, maybe it was a blog post, but it was like the 1,000 True Fans. You're never going to have that unless you're sharing more of yourself. Information is everywhere. And frankly, this whole thing that I'm teaching a lot in Yorktown and also in Dallas, and then applied specifically to coaches in National Harbor, you know, this whole thing of having to entertain, engage, and endear your market, like this is an inconvenient truth for me. Like I want you to understand that. It is a very, very inconvenient truth. The truth that I've always known is that I'm a little bit, I'm not always endearing. If there's two camps of people, the fun to love and the easy to love, I'm in the fun to love category, right? It's not exactly easy. I also know that I'm kind of boring, right? So the sex thing, it might be my only hobby, truly. Like it's the only, it's like one of the only things I really do for fun. Not the only thing I enjoy doing. I love writing. I love working out. I love, spending time with my family. I love watching TV with Chris. But in terms of an active hobby, it might be the only one I have. And so when I think about the truth, the reality, the paradox that I'm in of understanding inherently that I have got to not only educate, but also entertain, engage, and endear my market, this was not good news for me. When this landed on my shoulders, I was not super pumped about this because I'm not just a super fun person. I'm intense. And so making myself, sharing myself, as almost putting more of my personality into all of my marketing, that was a real vulnerable jump for me, right? That was a real, see, Valerie gets it. She said entertain, engage, and endure. And frankly, sometimes I feel like that's how people have to relate to me. Enduring me, right? Enduring my intensity. And I don't understand why she never smiles when she talks on stage and, all of this kind of intense energy around me. And I get that it's not for everyone. That was a funny, that was one of those Freudian slips, Valerie. So I found that very funny. But so I just want everybody to know that when this kind of came to me, entertain, engage, and endear people so they will endure your messaging, it was not a happy thing for me, right? But imagine when you are doing content marketing, right? Or selling in your funnel, regardless, selling from the stage, it doesn't matter where your message is showing up. When you're doing that, it is like a first date, right? Maybe they haven't bought from you. Maybe somebody just told them to check you out because this lady is freaking nuts or whatever, right? But you're going on a date with them. They're gauging you. Is this somebody I want to go further with? Is this someone that I want to have a relationship with? Is this somebody that I want to, get to know better? And so imagine going on a date with someone who just kind of repeated facts and how to, no personality, no dreams, no other stuff, right? Just I want 2.2 kids, a white picket fence. I want this kind of lifestyle. Do you check the boxes? What boxes do you have that I might check? Can you fathom that, right? Can you fathom that? It would not be a date that you would probably go back on, frankly, right? It would be something that you just were ugh, Boring, exactly. And that is the number one sin in marketing, by the way, is being boring. Another inconvenient fact for me, because I consider myself a very inherently boring person. I don't know why I just thought of this, but it's a story about being relatable. And so it's kind of a funny story. So this was back in like the days of the Ning network groups. And so you weren't really seen back then as much, right? Like your face wasn't seen unless you were like super famous. And so I remember I got an email. It may have even been a phone call. I can't remember. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be on Do Not Disturb. I don't know how these calls are getting through. But I got an email or a phone call from someone who was writing an article and wanted to interview me for a magazine that was for Black women entrepreneurs. And it was like a big one. I can't say it was like Essence, but it was a big one. And I was like, I'm in, right? And I did think it's a bit strange, right? Like I thought it was maybe like, but I was in. I was like, perfect, like let's set up the time. And so the person interviewing me told me, who she wrote for, and she said, and so we cater to Black women entrepreneurs. The article was going to cater to that. And I said, oh, great, like I'm like perfect. And she's like, so which of those do you fit into? Which of those groups you fit into? And I was like, the women entrepreneur part. And so anyway, we just kind of laughed. We had a good laugh about that. And so I did not get featured in the article. But anyway, I don't know why I just thought of that. But you want to be relatable to people. You want to call out to your people. I wasn't offended. She was an artist, so it wasn't interviewing me for the article. I wouldn't have been relatable. And so anyway, you want to have content that shares your heart, not just your how-to. Otherwise, you're going to become just part of the noise, and you're not going to endear yourself to anyone. You're not going to have those 1,000 true fans. You're not going to have people who invite their friends to come in and all of that, right? And so you've got to really put yourself out there and put your personality in your content and make yourself share a little bit more of yourself the same way you would. And frankly, this would be difficult for me now if I was having to date right now. Like, I can't even fathom that. But you'd have to put yourself out there in order to attract the right people, right? So what I would put out there now if I were dating would be a whole lot more of a mix than I did when I started dating Chris. I didn't know a lot as much about myself back then, and fortunately it worked out due to prayer, I think, of my mom who prayed for my husband. But now it's I know I am a hard to love person. I am a fun to love person, but I am not everybody's cup of tea, and I would have to put that out there. And in your marketing, in your branding, in your messaging, in your conversation with your market, guys, you have got to put more of yourself out there, not only to beat the number one enemy of business, which is obscurity, right? But also to connect with people. And let me tell you something, if you don't do this, you might get initially maybe a little bit more girls, maybe even a few more sales, but eventually they're going to find out who you are, right? And the people who are going to find out who you are, the little parts that you've hidden, and I'm not talking about going online and ranting and sharing your personal business. I'm talking about who you are. Then they're going to go away, right? They're going to feel a little bit cheated, like they didn't get what they were promised or what have you. And you do not want to build a business like that, because that business is always going to be churning people, churning. And if you feel like you're constantly having to get new people in the door, and you should, right? It's a best practice thing. I'm always looking to bring new people into the fold of Women Who Wow, for sure, right? But if you're always having to look, then you've got too much churn, and that means that there is something where you are not engaging them, not becoming endeared to them, and not maybe entertaining them, right? Because information only will have a lot of churn. So that's why I share about sex and marriage and all the other stuff, right? Because it's just part of me, and I want to relate to you, and I want women within the walls of Women Who Wow who are like us, right? I want them to be, I want them to want all the things. I want them to be fully empowered and fully expressed. And so we're going to move on to that. I want you to come to at least one location on my how-to tour. If you're just coming on, I went through a few things we're going to cover. If you have questions, message me m.me/womenwhowow. Definitely, I want to see you at one of those tour stops. But I have some other things to cover on this training. So why am I sending out my new welcome email funnel to everyone, right? Regardless of how long they've been on my list. They could be on my list for 10 years. I don't care. They are still getting ready to get a full new welcome email sequence. The first reason I'm doing that is because it's better than ever. And I do not want some of my best content to go unseen by people who have been like tolerating me, enduring me, in the words of Valerie, for 10 years, right? So it's better than ever. Number two reason is it's going to help me clear my list a little bit. Some women are going to read this and think, you know what, this chick is not for me, and that she's going to, weed herself out. She's going to unsubscribe, and she's just not what we are or what we're about or interested in what we're doing. Or maybe she closed the doors of her business, or she got a job, or married well, or whatever, right? But the third reason I'm doing it is so you guys don't go and rejoin and mess up my numbers on my list. I don't want you guys to think, oh my God, she's doing a new funnel and I want to see it, so I'm going to rejoin. Please don't do that. You're going to get it anyway. But mainly I'm doing it because my old funnel was less than effective. Bottom line, it was not as effective as it should have been. And it was at one point, and it's not anymore because it was built on the funnel rules or principles that frankly don't apply as much anymore, right? We are just a different kind of consumer, how we get information, how we make selling decisions. It's still, the psychology behind it is still sound, but the principles at play and what must be in a funnel are totally different. And if you have any like welcome email and a few different emails to your funnel, you've got to be paying attention to how people are buying today, how they think today, how they consume information today, how they relate to people they buy information from, right? You've got to think all of that through. And so the reason I'm re-releasing it is because it was less than effective. And frankly, I have a lot of people on my list, my email list, who are not Women Who Wow members, right? Like, which is, it's going to be the case, right? We're going to, you're going to have a lot of people who are the watchers, not the people who are coming in and linking arms with you. That's totally fine. But I also have people who aren't even like liking me on Facebook. They aren't engaging with me on facebook.com/Women Who Wow, where you're watching this video now. So it's, so I have a lot. This funnel that I've just started using and I'm getting ready to re-release to everyone is, it's so much more effective. I'm getting a lot more people who will join it, immediately come and follow me on social media, not immediately, but within, maybe this first 7-8 days, buy something. They're joining Women Who Wow. So it's a much more effective sequence. But the truth is the old funnels, which you probably have at play on your website, they're based on this old model of nurturing via step by step by step by step. And that works, like I said, if you're a wizard at writing sales copy, but it's not working near as well as it could be if you were doing it the way that I'm now doing mine, and I'm also going to be teaching in this training, but also in the on the how-to tour. And I can tell you that I have started loving watching money come in based on my my funnel, my first initial welcome funnel. I've loved that. It's like, it feels just like free money. Like I remember, and you guys give me some love hearts if you just remember when you first started getting like those cha-chings, like you're taking a bath or you're in the movies and you get like an email. It's like, you've got money from PayPal or Square or whatever, right? I love that stuff. It feels like free. It feels like way better than winning the lottery, right? And so anyway, but I'm doing it because I want to see how it works on people who have kind of been maybe laying dormant on my list and all of that, but also not for you guys, but for your friends. I'm also launching Women Who Wow Lite, L-I-T-E. For people who can't yet afford the Women Who Wow membership, currently selling for only $697 a year. So message me if you want to get in on that. And if you've been here, I've been inviting you to join Women Who Wow, and after 2 years, your business is still not producing profit enough to join for $697, then I've got a light option for you that will be coming out in about 2 days, LITE. But we're going to be covering this funnel hack in how to rework your funnel essentially. And here's the trick, the tip, the hack, is to welcome them to the club. That's what your funnel should do. It should welcome them to the club, to your club, the mini manifesto, the regular manifesto, what we believe, the 7 promises of a woman who wows. It has to welcome them into the club. It should tell them what you're here for, what you're about. It should use aspirational language. These are things, I did use aspirational language in my old funnel, but I focused on the stuff, right? I focused on the stuff and the steps, and the funnels nowadays should not do that. It should welcome them in. It should almost be like they've come to a party and you are there to make them feel comfortable, let them know what they just walked in on, right? I mean, this is the difference that you'll see in my next new funnel. And I'll be covering this in great detail in Dallas, but also in Yorktown. So moving on. What else did I promise to cover in this training? Funnels. Okay, funnels versus daily messaging. I get this question all the time, right? And a lot of people are still, I don't even know if these ads are still running or if they're just reading old books or old posts. I have no idea. But a lot of people are still interested in that set it and forget it mentality. And they're saying, Michelle, I see your funnels, right? And I know you have them, so why are you daily messaging, blah, 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 blah. I do want to tell you that I repurpose all of my daily messaging. I repurpose it in a way that gets me at least 10 times the effectiveness, the reach, the opt-ins, the sales, all of that stuff. But how does it intersect? If I have these set it and forget it funnels, and they're evergreen, you can call them evergreen, they're not forever, but they're evergreen, and they're automated, then why am I doing all of the daily messaging and daily selling? And the truth is you still need both, right? Because I can have an amazing funnel. My new funnel lasts, I think 10 days, right? It's 10 days. Might be 11 days. I can't literally remember. But the reason that you need both is the same reason you need a wedding and a marriage, right? It's and it's funny because in the same way that people put all sorts of time and attention to detail and making sure everything's perfect for their wedding and spend 0 time considering what it's going to be like to be married to this fool, right? In the same way that people do that, they will spend thousands of dollars going to events, trying to learn their funnels and set up their evergreen this and their evergreen that. They will spend thousands of dollars and days away from their business and blah, 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 and spend very little time or thought thinking about how they're going to nurture that relationship once they get the email, right? It's wedding and a marriage, right? You need the engagement and an ongoing relationship. And that's the same thing with your funnels. You want them to be as awesome as possible. You want them to be as effective as possible. And remember, to do that, you need to make sure you're welcoming them to the club. I have some tools that I use for that. And you'll also actually get a screensaver from me in case that inspires you, in the welcome funnel. It's something that has been so amazing. But you do want to make sure that you are having the intersection between new people coming into the funnel and other people who, by the way, may never join your funnel. They might just buy from you because you're daily messaging. But you want to have both of these things because one takes people in, welcomes them into the fold. The other is constantly staying in the conversation there, right? And so you want to make sure that these are intersecting. You definitely need both. All right, so I think I'm done. Message me if you have any questions about any of this, right? Any questions about any of it. And also if you have questions about the how-to tour, I think it's in this order. I think it's National Harbor, Maryland, Dallas, Texas, Yorktown, Virginia. If you have questions or want to be on the priority list for Women Who Wow Lite, Lite. If you're a Women Who Wow member, obviously you're getting everything that Women Who Wow Lite gets. And if you have questions about anything that I've talked about so far today, message me. And if you have friends that should see this video, please share the replay, tag them in the video so they know to watch it. And I am just excited to be with you guys. I am excited for you guys to see my new welcome funnel. And I hope that I get some comments and content back from you guys regarding how it's inspired you. And thank you, Carol, for the wedding marriage. So true, great analogy. Awesome, awesome. Talk to you guys later on. Have a great day. Bye.